Hello, friends and adventurers, and welcome back to Sally Cat Plays Blades of Exile. I am not currently in a scenario. So between scenarios, I decided to change up my party members a bit. Some of you may recognize these names as the crew of Moya from Farscape. Originally, I was going to stick with just 5 characters again, but then I realized Rigel could fit in pretty well as an alchemist and backup mage. He's going to be exceedingly squishy for a while, but we'll see how fast he catches up to everybody else. So, Dargo is a Slith, Erin is human, Chiana is a Nephilim, Zan and Crichton are humans, and Rigel, since I couldn't select Little Goblinoid as a playable race, I decided to go with a default human. But I think that this crew might fit the next scenario a little better than the last one would. A small rebellion, medium difficulty. The enemy, a secret band of deadly rebels. The job, infiltrate them, win their trust, and find their leader. The question, are you fighting on the right side? Times are tough for adventurers in Valorim, supposedly the wildest and most unsettled of the Empire's continents. The monsters have been subdued, the treasure has been claimed, mostly by the same group of adventurers from Exile, and there's little for you to do. That's why, when you were contacted by an Empire agent and told of jobs for you on a place called Morrow's Isle, you jumped at the chance. However, the agent was rather vague about the nature of the problem. There are supposedly brigands there, or bandits, or some other sort of evil human determined to cause trouble and mayhem. Your job will be to track down and slay them, or something similar. At any rate, it's paying work, so you decide to go there and see what's going on. 2 weeks' travel over land and several hours on a boat later, you have been deposited on a dock in Selathni, the largest city on Morrow's Isle. You have a letter of introduction in your pocket. You're supposed to go see a man named Vonnegut in the Sea Worm Inn near the dock. He will explain more of what's going on, and give you your official orders. After months of scraping out a living, you start to get excited. At last, you can go out, have adventures, and fight evil! I don't know where exactly Morrow's Isle is supposed to be in Valorim in relation to anything else we've seen. You walk up the dock into the city of Selathni. Looking around, it's hard to believe there's any trouble here. The people look happy and well-fed, and the buildings and streets are clean and well taken care of. To the northeast, you see a large inn with a long green sea serpent painted along its wall. Perhaps that's where you're supposed to meet Vonnegut and find out what's going on. Okay. We will investigate that soon enough. The Selathni harbor has a high stone wall built around it, sheltering it from rough waves and storms. You are on a narrow path, running along this section of the wall. The high stone wall built around the harbor conveniently demarcates the area that can be mapped and explored by us. And of course, as always, I have to do my perimeter check. Perimeter exploration thing. Can I talk to the guards? Of course I can't. I don't think I can explore what's on the other side of this wall without using Farsight or Magic Map. Not that I expect anything besides grass. Selathni Shopping District. I'll have to check that out soon. Little park area. Some guy. This wealthy and clean-looking young man is probably the son of one of the better-off people in town. He's in his late teens, and moves with the calm and confidence of the upper class. He nods in greeting, looking at your arms and armor with interest. I am Michael. Oh, I am but pacing about our fine city. He waves at it. Is it not lovely? You look around at Selathni. It is indeed a beautiful city. Michael fingers the silk collar of his shirt. I do not. I simply cannot understand why some malcontents would want to spoil it. But it's all right. He smiles. Jane will sort them out. He looks embarrassed, as if he's been caught talking about something he shouldn't. Sorry, forget I said anything about Jane. Have a lovely day. Goodbye. He wanders away. Okay. This seems like a more residential district. And, of course, the requisite city temple. Requisite for any decently sized proper city, of course. That's a large building. I think that's the inn. Because this is the dock storage bins. Thieves will be killed. We'll make sure not to actually take anything. Not that there's much of interest to adventurers such as us. Tasty mushrooms, holly. An intriguing chest, which I'm not going to touch. And an empty warehouse. Yeah, just stick and garbage, okay. I thought that tile looked odd. You notice a large crack in the floor. Huh. Floor with crack. Now that's a specific type of tile that I don't think I've seen before. Interesting. Though we have not tripped the plot flag that will allow me to do anything with it. To leave Morrow's Isle, go to End of Dock. You find a boat at the end of the dock, waiting to take passengers away from Morrow's Isle. If you want, you can leave this confusing, violent place now. Nah, not yet. We haven't even seen any of the violence. Okay, this one is the Sea Worm Inn, so this must be another inn, or possibly even City Hall. This hotel room has 2 reading stands set up in it. Each has a chair set up in front of it, so that you can read in comfort. Cool. The book is titled History of Morrow's Isle, a summary. Morrow's Isle was first settled by humans about 200 years before. Valorum was a wild and unsettled continent, and the settlers had a very hard time of it. Eventually, a tormented band of them made it to this isle, and when they found rich grasslands, ore-filled hills, and a minimal number of hostile creatures, they knew they had reached their final destination. Once the few Nephilim living there were butchered, they were home at last. The settlers lived independently there for 100 years, until the Empire finally noticed the isle. Seeing the need for order, the Empire established a feudal state there. Despite a few minor difficulties which were easily dealt with, the transition of the island's population from settlers to serfs went smoothly, and, with hard work, the wealth of the island was harvested. Today, with many rich fields, productive mines, and happy citizens, Morrow's Isle is a virtual paradise to live and work in, thanks to the benevolent rule of the Empire and the hard work of the settlers. Yeah, that definitely sounds like, some Empire propaganda there. The leather-bound tome is titled A Report on Unrest in Morrow's Isle, a brief summary of the uncensored parts. There has been some unrest on Morrow's Isle for the past century, ever since the settlers there were brought under the control of a feudal lord. Until recently, the minor rebellions were easily dealt with. Now, however, there is a new, vicious force on the isle. Known as the Hill Runners, and led by a person known only as Stalker, the rebels have had a good deal of success against the government. They have completely seized control of the northeastern mountains of Morrow's Isle, and, playing on and building up a small amount of mild discontent in the citizenry, they have done a good deal of harm to the Empire's control in this area. Part of their success can be attributed to their vicious tactics. Nobody, neither soldiers nor civilians, men nor women, is exempted from the Hill Runners' violence. Aiding an Empire soldier invites murder as surely as being one. Something should be done about this menace as quickly as possible. Otherwise, It is possible that malcontents in other areas will feel these tactics can succeed and adopt them. Small amount of mild discontent, huh? This feels more honest, but still definitely written from a certain pro-Empire point of view. You are Vonnegut. I will talk to you in a moment. Belk. With the tanned skin, earring, and tattoos, you have little doubt that this man is a sailor. He's currently working on what must be one of many beers. He grunts and belches. "I'm Belk," he says. "Sit down and join me." He waves unsteadily at a nearby stool. He barks out a laugh, with a little spittle in addition. "I'm a sailor. Or I'm retired. I'm not sure. Making goods runs to Morrow's Isle was a good bit of work. Safe. Lots to do. They pay well. I was all set to retire, but then all the trouble started." "Yeah," he blows his nose on his sleeve. "Years of work, and I'm finally ready to settle down. Buy a farm. Drink. But then I get here, and there's all these troubles going on. I get here, and within one day, one of these hill runners comes up to me." You see the barkeep look over, uncomfortable at the mention of the hill runners. "They try to convert me. They say, 'Help us or we cut you down in your sleep.' Then a soldier comes up to me next day and says he has his eye on me because I was seen talking to a hill runner." He snorts. "This place is madness. I'm escaping. I'm going somewhere where people aren't getting killed everywhere and you can keep to yourself. Pretty reasonable, huh?" You have a hard time disagreeing. Asking about the hill runners, I get an awkward silence in return. For some reason, this person doesn't want to discuss this topic here. Not in front of the barmaid, anyway. Even for inns frequented by sailors, the Sea Worm Inn is a bit on the scruffy side. The barmaid is doing her best to fight the decay, but it's been a losing struggle for some time. She grabs some mugs, expecting some heavy drink orders. "I'm Clivens. Welcome to the Sea Worm Inn." "Well, our beer is great. Only 5 gold a mug. We have a room free for only 6 gold. And if you're planning to travel, we have some rations." "Yeah, I've heard a lot about problems traveling on the Isle. Get a beer and I'll tell you about it. But first, food. Exorbitant prices. 10 food for 8 gold isn't that bad, and I have plenty of gold." So how about that beer? You get a few mugs of the inn's beer. As expected, it's noxious stuff. Apparently we are not used to the Exile brews. Or we would be more impressed. As you choke it down, Clivens says, "You look new here. Have you heard the Isle's been dangerous lately?" The northwest corner is full of jumpy Empire soldiers. The northeast is full of hill runners. I'd suggest staying close to home until you know what you're doing. Okay, I think that's all I can get from you. Also, I wanted to point out, Dargo gets a different Sleuth Warrior graphic, and something I'm not entirely sure if I noticed before. One Sleuth Warrior has blue eyes. One of them has red eyes. So perhaps I picked the less aggressive graphic for Dargo as opposed to Orig. Whichever. Anyway. Hello, Vonnegut. When you get close to this small man, he nervously motions you over to join him. As you sit, he takes a quick look around the room, paying close attention to the windows and doors. When he sees it safe, he turns to you. He asks for your letters of introduction and looks them over carefully. Satisfied, he says, "I am Vonnegut, adventurers. Welcome to Morrow's Isle." He continues to keep an eye on the windows and doors. "Forgive my caution, but the hill runners have made all our lives dangerous. I am here to explain the reason you've been brought here." They are the rebels, the violent raiders and murderers who have turned this isle into a place of constant terror. They are the reason you've been brought here. The Hill Runners, led by their leader Stalker, have had great success in fighting the Empire on Morrow's Isle. You have been brought here to infiltrate them. I am not here to tell you how. I am only here to tell you of your contact, and to provide information. You are to go to Willow, to the east of here. Somewhere in Willow is a secret stairway down, which leads to where our leader Jane will speak with you and give you your orders. He will tell you how to infiltrate the Hill Runners, and why. However, before you go, a serious warning. Infiltration now. Like all adventurers on the Isle, we are sure you will be contacted by the Hill Runners, so that you can help them with their sinister deeds. Do nothing for them until you have been to the contact point to clear things with Jane. If you help Stalker without permission, you will be slain. Practically nothing is known of him, or her. Stalker is completely ruthless and vicious, and a shrewd tactician as well. If you can infiltrate the Hill Runners, we might be able to find and eliminate this threat. Fortunately for us all, Stalker has an opposite, our leader Jane. Jane was sent here by the Empire to destroy Stalker. He is just as secretive, and just as shrewd and vicious. It is he who will be giving you your orders. I am here to tell you how to contact him. He points to a door in the southeast corner of the room. In my room are 2 books. Read them, and you will learn much of Morrow's Isle, and of our situation. Way ahead of you. So contact is go to the east to Willow and look for a secret stairway down. Alright. We have our orders, but I'm not going to leave Selathni until I've thoroughly explored it, of course. Because an important part of adventuring is shopping. Fine blades. Weaponsmiths are always greatly in demand, especially on an island as tormented and violence-racked as this one. However, although business must be very good, the smith looks very grim. He extends a massive hand to you. I'm Hadric. We have all sort of weapons, which you can purchase. You'll need them. There's no safety with those hill runners about. He shakes his head. I'm not much on politics. I don't know who's doing what, or why. I just know what happened to Charles. His voice is grim. He was my boy. He was in a caravan trip, going northwest to Zaskiva. Hill runners ambushed it, killed everyone. Not just guards, everyone. Seems they were delivering weapons to the Empire garrison. My child was innocent. He shakes his head. I don't have any crying left in me, or yelling. I just know that what's going on, it ain't right. He shrugs. Want some weapons? Sure. Bronze weapons and iron. Oh, and some steel. Okay, Rigel only has an iron knife. I could upgrade that. Also, I gave Rigel the bad back trait to lower his XP threshold. It means that with this slightly ridiculous amount of alchemy ingredients, he can't carry a whole lot else. He also has pants of protection. He needs them. He also has some robes that I should equip. This is a painting of a bow and arrows. This shop is where you can come to get all manner of missile weapons. The woman behind the counter looks up at you with alacrity, ready to spring into action to serve you. I'm known as Blue. Long story. Welcome to my archery shop. We have missiles, bows, and bolts. Which would you like? We've got U-bows available. But I've already got one. Although I might start training up Aaron in some archery skill. Missiles are darts, throwing knives, arrows. Looks like Gianna is kind of low on arrows. And possibly out of bolts entirely. Keepers of knowledge. Trainer, perhaps? When you walk up to the counter, the woman behind it looks up at you. For a brief instant, you see the intense fatigue clouding her eyes. Then she jumps up, spry and alert, to bow to you. I am Eleanor. I am the trainer for the city of Selathni. I am a trainer. Come to me when you need learning. Learning is good. Why do I feel like in another city you would be a Scribane addict? Are you okay? Okay. Okay, so I did in fact already train up Aaron with some archery. Dargo has some skill in thrown weapons, why not? And a couple levels of priest spells. Gianna is pretty much the same as Lyra was before her. Zan is saving up for more priest spells. Crichton's got level 6 mage skill, which will come in handy if I find any level 6 mage spells in this scenario. I don't remember if this one tops out at 5 or 6. Rigel. I used the hack of giving Rigel lots of points in mage spells for the free spell points that they would give. Otherwise, he's got a bit of skill in alchemy, decent intelligence, not a lot else. Michael's Armory. Goods identified and purchased. Probably a different Michael from the kid walking around. Although this man is a blacksmith, currently working on a breastplate, he looks surprisingly calm and clean. You soon see why. He mutters a spell, and his hammer starts to glow. After a few more strikes, he sets it down to turn to talk with you. I am Iggers. Welcome to my shop. That's not what the sign said. Jeff, did you forget which character was doing what? Oh, I'm very versatile. Most of the reason for my success. I can identify your items, and then you can sell them to me. Or if you wish, I can provide you with all manner of fine armor. From leather all the way up to steel chainmail. Pretty decent prices, honestly. Okay, so I've got iron breastplate, bronze chain, iron studded, bronze studded. Honestly, I think I should upgrade some armor. Item is too heavy. I think I should unequip some armor, sell it, and then buy new armor. Aaron gets chainmail, Chiana gets studded, and Zan gets studded. Well, what do you mean too heavy? Come on now. And Zan is holding some extra alchemy ingredients for Rigel, which he's not going to be able to use anyway, because I certainly don't have recipes that use Grey Mold or Ember Flowers yet. You know what, why don't I just use this week's skill potion already? I feel much smarter. Ooh, that's a whopping 1 more skill point for Zan. Yay. Can I buy steel-studded armor now? Yes, good. Shrine of Blessed Healing. Donations accepted. The shrine's donation box is here. It's empty right now. A small sign hung on the front of the box says, Suggested life-affirming donation, 100 gold. It's a bit steep. The shrine, as usual, is dominated by a large, gleaming altar. Even being near it fills you with a warm, comforting feeling. There are kneeling pads set in front, no doubt so you can pay your respects, get blessings, etc. Kneeling in front of the altar does indeed give you a warm, pleasant feeling. And that's all. Let's see if it's like other altars that do a little something special after a donation. You put the money in the box. As you watch, it slowly disappears. You have a warm, pleasant feeling. When you kneel, the altar begins to glow warmly, bathing you in a healing white light. When the glow fades, you feel reinvigorated. Good shrine. Or it certainly would be if I wasn't already at full health. Hello, Adventuring Inspection Service. Have you paid your adventurer tax? A lot of people are not home right now. It's always a little funny when something that should be showing up on one side of the wall shows up on the other. Thought there might have been something special about it. Guess not. Okay, I think I just took the back way into the barracks. Selathni Barracks. So I imagine that all of the soldiers are going to not talk to me at all. Captain, on the other hand. This is the captain of the guard for the city of Selathni. He was looking over charts and maps when you entered the room, and doesn't seem pleased that you're interrupting his work. I'm Commander Barnard. How can I help you? I'm the commander for this garrison. It's not important. I'm glad I have this chance to discuss issues with you. Oh, really? The workings of this garrison are not your business. Aha. You are far from the first adventurers to visit Morrow's Isle, and you will probably, like the others, be contacted by the Hill Runners. Yes, the rebels. He doesn't seem to know why you were brought here. You decide not to tell him. They will contact you and try to get you to help them. When they do, a small warning. He gives an evil grin. We'll find all of the rebels one of these days. When we do, it'll take days for you. for them to die. Before they lure you to their side, remember that. You'll pay. Okay? I think I'm done talking to you. Stables! Ooh, can I get horses in this scenario? Purdy's Resort. Fine dining and victuals. Vacancy. So this is indeed another, larger, fancier inn. This man's clothes tell two stories. They are high quality, made of silk and velvet, but they're also torn and dirtied, as if their wearer has had a hard time of it. His shirt is also stained with some of the wine he's been drinking. He motions for you to sit and pours you some wine. Greetings, fellow victims. I'm Bearden. Job? None anymore. I'm a victim, sure as I'm sitting here. He gulps down some more wine. And I take a sip of my tea. Well, I'd be glad to tell you all about it. He starts to fall over and then rights himself. I was running a lumber mill in the ruins of what was Fall, but then it was destroyed. Fall is, or was, in the woods to the northeast of here. He thinks, confused. That's right, the northeast. But then a hill rider, or whatever they're called, burnt it to the ground. The only thing I was able to save was my horses. Want some? You can purchase a set for only 400 gold. Ooh, might do. Beautiful place. The serfs sawed and processed 30 big logs a day. It was going to make me rich, but then it got destroyed. That lumber mill was my way to richness. Lord Volpe said so when he invited me here. We were going to turn this island into a paradise. But now I'm stuck out in the cold, and Volpe doesn't do anything to help. Aw, poor guy. He starts to get woozy. Volpe is the lord who brought us here. We run it all. He's making this island great. He's... With a loud, satisfying thunk, Bearden's head hits the table. He snores. Well, I'm not sure if it's appropriate to say they want to make Morrow's Isle great again, since they want to make it greater than it was before. But, man, the timing on that one is just too good to pass up. Behind the counter, you see Purdy, the elegant and pert owner of Purdy's Resort. She bows to you as you approach, and wipes clean the counters in front of where you sit. I am Purdy, and I run Purdy's Resort, the loveliest inn in all of Valorum. Well, when the captains want a good place to stay, they come here. Fine, private room, only 14 gold. Good solid meals for sale. And of course, bottles of Morrow Isle's finest wines, only 12 gold. I can buy good sandwich or tasty mushrooms. Tasty mushrooms are pretty cheap, actually. She brings you a bottle of delicious, carefully aged wine. As you sip, she mentions conspiratorially, "By the way, adventurers, are you interested in rumors? I've heard interesting things about the Empire, and about some monsters." Just between you, me, and these 4 walls, some people have seen ogres in the hills at the southwest corner of the isle. Huh. We may have to go see what's ogre there sometime soon. So, what do you have to tell us about the Empire that you don't want anyone else to hear? All the Empire folks are in a tizzy because some sort of auditor or judge or something is coming here to look over the Hillrunner situation. Keep your eyes open on the streets of Selathni. This certain someone may be here any day now. I think you might be a little closer to that entity than you think. Okay, don't need a room, and... Aha! Selathni is Morrow Isle's main port. We get a lot of sailors here, and their captains. The sailors go to other, lesser places. The captains come here. I see. Nice big kitchen. And pretty standard rooms, at least rendered in standard graphics. Yeah. Chiana is the one with the lockpicks. Nothing actually of interest there. So we've been told that we should go east, but I believe southwest was where we can investigate some ogres. And you can find out which direction I decide to take in the next episode. Until then, have a good one and take care, everybody.